Let's go ahead and get started. Our presenters for this session are Benoit and Dougherty, and I'll let them take over.
Thank you. I'm Benoit. I'm with the Eastern UP Regional Planning and Development Commission. And our agency is there's one of 14, we're one of 14 agencies in the state. So we cover Chippewa, Lewis, Mackinac counties, and we were created by the counties to combine our resources and fight for mutual benefit for each other. So to start with our water trail planning, they kind of, back in the 1990s, we had a little, Dean Sandell from the MDNR came up and he kind of started pushing water trails, but it didn't really go very far back then. Drummond Island did create their water trails and started promoting their area, but it never really took hold in the whole place. So then in around 2010-ish, not 2009, 2010, Dr. Lundberg from the Western Michigan University started going around the Lake of Michigan, and he created this document, drive-by directions and all these different points. And that's kind of how we had gotten involved. They contacted us to help with research and stuff. So he created this Heritage Water Trails website, and then with their grant money they had a couple of trail summits, and so regional planning staff went down there and got involved. And we also worked with this Land Information Access Association, LIA, and they were involved in creating websites. And so that's kind of how we got involved. Our sister agencies downstate were doing planning on water trails in Lake Huron, and we kind of started getting involved. And then over time we progressed and we started talking to the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy, and we partnered up on Lake Michigan. But what we're doing is we started using the National Park Service's, guide to water trail planning, and they kind of tell you, give their criteria of what to do, the best management practices. And basically, if you want to, they want to have a rest stop every 5 miles with a bathroom, and then every 10 miles a camping, a lodging area. So that's the goals if you want to have like a national designation. So we use their criteria and their planning document as a guiding document. And then the Michigan DNR came up with a Michigan Water Trails Manual, and they completed that in 2016 to early 2017. So we started to use that as our guiding document. And if in the future we can meet our criteria of the rest stops every 5 miles, and we can apply to the state to become a Michigan water trail, or we can apply to the National Park Service for a national designation if in the future we want to do that. So what we did, we started on Lake Huron, then basic inventory collection. So we decided we're only going to public access sites because at this time there's too much change with the private entities, but we thought to start, we'll just, inventory all the public access sites. And we had our data collection form that, basically was on the National Park Service and other agencies were using. And we did web research, we looked up websites, we looked up aerial photos, and then we went on site visits and we collected all this information. And now we have this spreadsheet of information for Lake Huron, the St. Mary's River, Lake Michigan, and Lake Superior shoreline in our area. And I got the name of the access point, the longitude and latitude, a description, owner, contact person, email, and then I got fields that go on and on about, tells you if there's picnic tables or camping. And then I can easily merge that information into this form to go back to the site owners and have them verify, is this what you have? And every year we're going to try to go back to them and communicate with them about what they have and make sure we keep our information up to date. So in 2011, we did our inventory along Lake Huron, and we collected the inventory, and then we created this map out of that. And we also had developed a website, Lake Huron Rec, and we also created placemats that we put in restaurants. We're down to our last couple copies of the maps, and I think all the placemats have been used. And then our website got hit by a virus, so that was gone. So in 2012 and 14, we partnered with the downstate agencies on Lake Michigan. And again, we collected the inventory, and then with this planning, we also created a gap analysis which showed where the gaps were between these rest areas and where the campground areas were. And we also created sample language for communities to put in their own recreation plans, so they could apply for funding. And with that, we worked with that LEA organization, and they created the state's website of water trails, and it's at michiganwatertrails.org. So we entered in all our information from our area into their website, and we also created these local maps, and these were created around the lake. So each segment has their own little map. Again, flip fold, kind of pain if you're out on the boat. So then, and around the next grant cycle, we applied and we started Lake Superior shoreline and the St. Mary's River. And we got the inventory collected, we did a gap analysis. I happen to work on these ones, so we have the gap analysis documents, and they're up on our website if you wanted to really look at them. And we do have a lot of gaps in our areas, but we also have a lot of state land where people can just, disperse camp. So in a way, it's not really a gap, but yet there's no facilities. So we do have some gaps. But we were able to create a local website, which I'll go into in the next slide. And we also created this map, paddling map atlas, which now covers the whole entire region. And it's flip fold, waterproof, so it's easy to carry. Has your information, shows your sites. And so we're selling these for $10, hoping to get our money back so we can keep reprinting. And hopefully we'll get that, maybe be able to sell ads and stuff in the future. So I just wanted to go to the water trail site here real quick to show you what, if I can get it. Can I go back? All right. Go back here. There we go. So if you go to our water trail site, here we go. So we kind of based ours the same way the state had based theirs. So we have like 3 segments. Try to do this with the mouse here. Okay, so you can scroll down, and we have different segments. We also have links over to the central and the western UP. There. So we can link, we have links. We feel it's important to share. We have some photos. You can go to the photo gallery, and we're hoping that people will help contribute, stuff, but we've collected some photos, and we have a place to blog. We just have to figure out how to do that. So we're working on that. And then we have a place to put events. So we're working with our partners, and we need them to keep us informed about what's happening so we can, keep this website up to date. So we have different text, areas of text, that you can read through, and basically the same information is in our paddling guide. We also talk about, you know, what's unique in our area. So we link to the Canadian border, easy. And then we also have this interactive map that we decided we can't keep track of all the different hotels and motels, but we can link to the tourist agencies easy enough. So you can go to this map and click on one of these and it'll tell you, you know, what's there. You can get to their website very easily. So we have links to tell everybody that. And you can just break it down to just, if you wanted just the museums, or you can just have one thing show up on your map and you just scroll in and out. The closer you get, the aerial photo will pop up, your roads will pop up, kind of like Google Maps. So that connects us with your hotels and different agencies around the region. And here is our water trail. We have instructions of how to use it, but it's fairly simple. It takes a minute to load because it is pretty interactive, a lot of information. And we have it broken down into the 4 water trails along the coastal shorelines. And we also have the sites color coordinated, so if there's a bathroom or if it's a campground, it's purple. If there's nothing, and if it's just an emergency site, which isn't really very suitable to land at, but if you had to in an emergency, you could. So you can get a little bit of text on here, and we can put our hazard information in red. You can click here on a site, and it'll bring you up on the map and bring it up here. You can click here on the map, and again, if you scroll in, we have the name of a segment. We kind of named our segments: Shipwreck Cove, Whitefish Bay. You can click right on that and get your longitude and latitude information. It'll tell you the distance to the next site.
Excuse me, is the cord on your mouse pretty long? I was just wondering if it
Mine
would.
anyway. Mine anyway.
I just wonder if you would.
I could stand over here. Sorry. So yeah, we got a distance to the next site. If you zoom in close, the aerial photo comes out.
Is this website in a format you can reference with a cell phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
You
somebody
come up
could be
in-
out in their canoe, and if they have,
Yes.
they have a connection, they can look at it.
Yes, yes. And we also have links, like QR codes in our paddling atlas, so you can just scan and, you know, if you were like looking for customs, take you right to the right spot. So you see this is a campground, it's green, and then our text tells you a little bit more about it, and then we can also link right to the website and get more information. So scroll in, scroll out, see the distances between sites. And we have all these points located along the Sault Mary's River. And you can click either here and get to a point, or, you know, and then read about it. Tells you, you can click to the website. To the website.
So is this mostly geared towards the St. Mary's and the Great Lakes, or what about any of the inland rivers or inland waterways?
Good, great question, because that's what we would like to do. We're moving inland, but we were able to get grant money through the coastal zone management, which only does the coast. So we were able to build the website, but now that we have it built, we do want to start adding, because, you know, if you're on the Great Lakes and it's a windy day, it might not be suitable, but one of our inland lakes, Trout Lake Campground, you know, there's lakes in Caribou, there's those inland rivers. So we have a multitude of places to kayak or launch. So I think with our map here, with our website that connects with our paddling map atlas guide, and now in our future, so I'm going to get back to the, I don't be able to get back to my, in our future organizations, we have like a mission. Regional planning has taken like the coordinating role at this time, but we want to also incorporate land trails and non-motorized, as well as the motorized recreation, because we're trying to promote our area, but yet we want to protect our resources. And these are good economic tools. You know, we're bringing in new outfitters for guides, and we want this place to be a premier destination for, you know, we are a premier destination, so we want to promote it as such. And we have a wide variety. We want to be able to connect between communities. So that's kind of our vision, and we want to, you know, enhance our livability, but yet we want to promote stewardship to protect our resources, because we just don't want them to. But
I saw on your list a lot of activities, but what about cross-country skiing?
oh yeah, yep, we would like to get all the trails, and we're trying to get all the trails into one big one-stop website. So that is a goal, a future goal. This website might morph into like a UPEC trail website or something. That's still a work in progress.
Ellen, have you had a lot of people out there kayaking on the water trail?
We haven't really kept track of that numbers, but while we've been out there collecting inventory, like one time I stopped at the Kent Marina, and the marina manager there said, "Oh, you just missed a guy from last night. He flew in. He lives in Nevada. He flew in with his collapsible kayak, and they set it up. He flew into Canada, and they said the best place is, you know, to Michigan. So he came over to Michigan, and they helped him get his kayak going, and he went down St. Mary's River, down coastal Michigan, and he was heading down the Mississippi. So, I mean, yeah, and he blogs about it and everything. So there are people that do that. We just haven't had the survey or whatever to collect that data. So hopefully through this website, we'll be able to collect some more data, and once we start really targeting these groups and showcasing our area and getting our information out there.
You know, in that vein, is there any thought been given to people registering as they get to a site and that it could be collected?
Yeah, somehow we have to think about how we're going to collect this information to show that this is bringing economics to the area, as well as I'd like to find that person. My sister had a restaurant in the Detour area, and I think we had been on Friday in the Sioux, and by Saturday he was in Detour, and my mom had talked to them, and so she got his information, but I need to contact him and ask him, you know. And I think he was just using a road map. He really didn't, there was no information out here. So now we have this information, and you read about it in the papers all the time of these people, you know, traveling the Great Lakes. I think we had a lady last summer traveling all 5 Great Lakes. So there are people out there doing it, but somehow we do have to collect that information.
2 quick things. I understand that, but that's, in my opinion, it's more of an outlier. You have the people that are out for the day or a weekend.
Right.
You know, not many guys are gonna start off here and end up in the Mississippi.
Right. Those are
So the value to me is somebody that's coming in for a weekend and maybe they have a kayak on the top of their
Right.
car, and they want to know how to get around. And of course, sometimes the Great Lakes can be daunting. That's why I wondered about where they can hop in a river
Right.
or an inland lake, where
Right.
it's certainly much more not only accessible, but much more maneuverable.
Right.
And then the other thing is that I noticed a lot of those things you were putting up there, you were talking about campgrounds. Did you say earlier that these were state campgrounds or just public campgrounds? Because a lot of them, like, again, I saw one that you pulled up there, the cost was, I think, $13 a camp.
Right.
You're registering there,
Right.
to be able to camp in.
Right,
So,
so,
and you guys may know more than I do about it, but if you go to a public campground or a state campground and you register, do they keep track of what it is you're doing, or they just take your money and say,
Yeah.
thanks, it's going to the state?
yeah, pretty much.
That might be a way
But
that
that
you
might
can
be a
start to
way.
get some information.
Exactly, so we'll work with the DNR to try
Might
that.
be a way.
Exactly. But with the water trail, then we have all these different partnerships that start, we have conversations that are starting, you know, Paradise doesn't talk, you know, to Sault Ste. Marie, what are you guys doing? But now we do have these conversations starting, and now we are talking to the Canadians on the north and the people on the west, and different stewardship projects are coming up. We have partnerships and the volunteer, Denny will talk about the volunteers he's got going. But the purpose, you know, that was what I was gonna say. We created these partnership agreements based on the Michigan's water trail, and basically we just defined the purpose of our agreement, which is basically regional planning will be the coordinator at this time until maybe a friends group or a water trail, you know, the whole owners of the water trail come together as a group. But right now we're kind of the coordinating agency. But basically the agreement just defines the purpose, to keep in communication. We define our access sites. We have primary, secondary, or emergency sites. And then the roles of the partners. So as the regional planning, as a coordinator, we'll keep this website going, but we need our partners to give us the information, make sure it's correct. And we'll help promote. We'll do anything we can to promote, and then any of the amenities, like if there's any branding that's starting to happen. I think the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy has their brand, so we will go to our partners and explain to them and recommend what some of the amenities that they would like. And we want to keep our communications open and with the website and social media. We're going to just promote our area. So basically, we're going to maintain our website, and we'll maintain it here locally and on the state's website. We're going to coordinate communications, have some meetings, and then again, provide recommendations. Communities can create a recreation plan, and then they can apply for DNR grant money for building facilities. We'll assist with any communities to help. As regional planning is not an owner of any of these sites, we can only do planning grants, but we can assist the communities in their grants, either to acquire land if they need it, or to build facilities. And then once we see people start to come, we want to identify issues. So if, you know, a certain area is starting to get loaded with toilet paper because there is no restroom facility, maybe then we need to put a restroom facility there. So we want to make sure we're keeping on top of things and monitoring things and keeping, protecting our land and everything, and looking for solutions that will work for everyone. And then we want to promote our area. So we'll have information at table at events, and we'll do news releases of success stories. And we're hoping to create some promotional 1-minute videos or 3-minute videos that we can add to our website. We're going to try to keep that going, growing, and it'll help the community start having events. We will promote those and assist with those. So one of the things regional planning has been able to do is through, we feel it's important. We have our website, we have our map atlas, but now people who are traveling the water, they need to know where the landing site is. They might not have access to the phone with the GPS coordinates. So we've gotten these signs to mark our initial purchase through this Regional Prosperity Initiative money. We got 150 signs of these signs, and these will be placed at the water, facing the water, at the landing or launching site, so that people will know where to land. And then the local partner, the site owner, they're going to be the ones responsible to place that sign and to maintain it in the future.
Again, currently these are all along the lake.
This is all along the lakes right now. It's a work in progress.
How big are the signs?
They're 18 by 18. They're a fairly big sign. But again, they're brown and white, so they do kind of blend in.
I was
with
just
the-
wondering, because if you're out on
Right.
Lake Superior and.
Right, so, yeah, we're also gonna try to develop, you know, like what to look for, descriptions, because there's some areas of sites that the beach may be so far away, you really can't mark it with a sign. So there, you know, it's a work in progress. We talked about flag poles, we talked about banners, waving. It's a work in progress. And so in our future, we're hoping to do some promotional video creations. We were able to get a drone at work, and we have one of our staff getting certified to do that. So we'll have to do some aerial shots and start creating some trip descriptions, day trips, you know, as opposed to maybe an overnight trip, so different lengths of trips. And we'll use those to enhance our website. And then another grant opportunity that's coming up through that Michigan Sea Grant organization and Leah, they want to do a paddler education series on the invasive species. So we would educate paddlers and work with the conservation districts and recognizing our invasive species, what to look for, what to watch for, so that they can be our eyes on the trail. And if they see a spot, then they can report it. And that information we can also put up on our website. So that's one of the future opportunities, but there's so many more out there, you know, events. We were talking about maybe getting races going between the Sioux and Brindley, you know, different things going on. So it's a work in progress. We're still working it. We would like to incorporate the whole region, inland waters, rivers. So it'll grow. Yes.
Is there a standard for dockage or landing areas? How does that work in this trail concept? Is it pretty much a beach?
Well, we will leave that up to the site owners. If a lot of kayakers can, you know, just the beachy shore is all they need to land on. But there might be some areas in steeper banks that need, you know, a dock or something. But that will be up to the site owners to decide what they want to do. And we will certainly provide recommendations, because there's a multitude of ways you can do that, and Dennis can talk about what they've done. There's the, you know, easy access dock, or build your own, or, you know, there's so many things that can be done. We're not, as the water trail coordinator, saying anything has to be done.
Right.
But the more amenities you have, you know, the better your park's gonna be, people are gonna like it. So if you can get these different easy access docks or accessible docks in different places, from, you know, you can go from this one to that one, it'll just enhance our whole
I'm
trail
thinking
system.
like a 70-plus-year-old person.
Right, right.
Well, not just that, is there a way to know if I have a small boat versus a kayak? I mean,
Right.
is there a way to know what facility is there? Because like you said, some of these kayakers just go right up on the shore.
Right.
The shore.
Right.
If I have a boat, I mean, do I need it, and if I need a dock,
Right.
is there anything on there that shows?
Well, this links to all those, so if we have a boat launch site, you can click right on the link, you get all the information about that boat launch.
And it'll show that it's
Yep.
there.
So that's all I really had. And if you need any information, you can just, I have some pencils and giveaway with our websites out there. Contact our website. But yeah, I think the opportunities are starting. We had Dennis was saying local opportunities starting, and
Is that too bright?
No, that'll work. You got everything to show, it's easier to see.
here. But yeah, it's a start. Okay. You're the DE.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much. Public speakers, take her up.
No, I'm not into this either, but we'll do it. I'll turn over to Jim Gage and we'll. You know, these old former teachers, I'll tell you, we get to talk. I'm Dennis Dougherty, and I've been working on a couple projects here. And I guess my presentation is more on the power of volunteerism, how people can come out and really make a difference. If the city had hired what we did, I was doing the calculation, it'd be about a $250,000 project. We raised $50,000 and the volunteers did the rest. So, Sault Ste. Marie has, I would say, a $250,000 facility here for $50,000, and they didn't pay a penny. We raised the $50,000 through donations. So essentially, we turned this over to the city, and we said to them, we're going to be there to help you. Put the docks in every spring and take them out in the fall, and try to maintain some of the trails. But we are going to have meetings this winter and say, okay guys, it's a 2-year project, we finished up here. We want you to take more of a share of it because it is a city project, it's a city-owned island, and they have all the liability. Our group has liability, but that runs out next spring, and so we're turning it over to them. Yes.
So this is just past Clyde.
This is just past Clyde's. If you go down by the Sugar Island Ferry Dock, you'll see a sign there, and it says kayak facility and docks and that. If you go up there, there'll be a kind of a sign with a map, and to answer questions about how to get in it. I'm 69, and somebody here may be over that. But we have these docks designed for people that have bad knees or hips or whatever, or even in a wheelchair, and you can put your kayak in the slot and hop in on these side assist bars or overhang bars and get in and off you go. It's about a 10-minute paddle to here. I guess the best way to look at that would be Rotary Island is right about here, so you can just paddle around here and come into the dock. And once you get to the dock area, and I'll show you some scenes here, we have about a mile of trails here, we have a compost toilet system, and we have about 600 feet boardwalk over wetland. So the volunteers did a lot. I'm just one of many. We had 86, I counted, the volunteers in the last 2 years show up. And so that's kind of where we're at here. And I'll get in. If you have any questions, stop me along the way, or at the end we can go over something. I'll get into some of this right now. I guess I just have to click them out, right? Okay, the first thing we had to do is clean up the old buildings. There were 2 old buildings in this island from the 1920s, and they were falling all apart. So we started in 2016 in the spring, and we had about 24 to 30 volunteers each weekend for that month, a couple months in there. And they chalked up about 400 hours, and Ellen was there, and a few, a lot of people showed up. And that was, to me, it was a real surprise. I thought we'd get 5 or 6 people showing up, and people from the community just came out. And usually, when we get into these volunteer things, that happens. You get huge groups, and that's what you need, the critical mass to get things going. And then it kind of gets into your core group, and they end up doing a lot of the other things because they have more time. The people that came out here, I'm sure, had so many other commitments, but they made time to do it, and they spread the word. And by the end of the first season, the local business guys selling kayaks sold 1,200 kayaks. So those 86 people that worked on this thing went out and told people, and everybody got involved. So volunteering for stuff like this has so many kind of trickle-off effects, or it just works wonders. Anyway, so that was kind of the first stage. Am I going the right way? No. Okay, we had to rip apart the old buildings. Here you can see we had crowbars and even chainsaws and everything. We tore it down and we stockpiled the material. Now the biggest problem was where we're going to put the material, but that was solved last week when the National Guard came in. And I'll show you something. They hauled it all away. We didn't haul it. It would take us whole summer all this stuff off the island. They helped us out. We had a lot of trees hanging over that we were afraid that kayakers get hung up under, so we had to cut them. And by the way, this is a very scenic, peaceful area. If you're a novice kayaker, canoer, this is a great place to go. Seldom will you ever get waves. I mean, it is very protected.
So all this work is being done, not accessible by road, it's on the
island. We had to haul everything over.
Okay.
I lost 5 pounds this summer. I'll tell you what, it was a job, and all the guys in the crew, our average age is around 68. We had one 36-year-old kid, and he said halfway through the project, he said, "You guys are wearing me out." He'd go off the side, he'd lean against a tree, and we had about 7 or 8 guys, the seniors, it's kind of cute.
What was the building that was there originally?
They had two like cottages. People had
Privately
owned this island. And, when they were done, these 2 families, wherever, in the 50s, they said, "We've had enough of it, hard to maintain," gave it to the city in the 80s, I believe, and the city from the 80s all the way up to just 2 years ago, kind of let it sit, and they had some possible thoughts on doing it, like I said, maybe $250,000, but they didn't have the money. And so I wasn't aware of those other plans, but when our group came along, we started putting stuff together and said, hey, we can do this and we can do that. And here's one example right here. We had to file for DEQ and Corps of Engineer permits, but once they said, yeah, you're ready to go, we borrowed a guy's pile driver down the river, and from where I live, he said, yeah, take it. And we put in about 20 or 30 posts to make the ramp. We made everything ADA compliant. We wanted to have people, seniors or anybody, that had issues with hips or ankles or whatever, to be able to use this facility. So everything we built, the bathroom, the docks, the boardwalk, everything is ADA compliant. And so anyway, you can see here the start of our pile driving to do the dock ramp and dock stairway system. We had to cut trails because we wanted people to have a reason to go, kind of a destination. So we got up there and we made about 1 mile of trail. Actually, it's a little more than a mile. And it was kind of, when you get into these projects, they're fun. I love a good project, and probably a lot of you do too. But it's just kind of the camaraderie and stuff, and people get going. We had short work days from 9 to noon, a Friday for those who had Fridays off or retired, and Saturday for those who couldn't make it Friday. So 2 short work days on a Friday and Saturday through the course of about 2 years. And we had people show up. We whittled down to a core of about a dozen pretty good hardcore workers, and we could always count on 6 to 10 coming on each work week. So we had plenty of help, many hands laid to make leg work, and I tell you, I just couldn't believe how much people have done. That first work week to clean up the island and all the buildings and stuff, and Alan will probably say this too, it went so cotton picking fast. I thought we were going to be there a month cleaning up in a couple of weekends at least. Cleaned up, stocked up with huge piles, and we couldn't get the National Guard last year, but they came through last week. Anyway, so clearing trails was a thing. Then we had to build the docks, and the dock, we got them from a place called Merkle Dock System. They sell at Home Depot. It was kind of like put it together. They tweaked our plans. I had sent some drawings in, and they said, we changed a little bit, fine. So we changed the drawings to match what they needed. We used their special floats. These are Corps of Engineer floats. The guy on the left is bending over looking at one. And they are full of foam. You could take a hammer and a chisel and drill right through that thing and it won't sink. It's full of foam. So they're guaranteed like for 20 years. So we put on, it cost a little money for this stuff, but it's a solid system. And we could even leave it in the ice if we lived down south more, like the ice is only a foot thick. But up here with currents and stuff, we're not leaving. We pull it out every year. Very solid system. And so if you're thinking of putting one in, make sure if you have a place in the water, just go on
Is that a
Google.
Corps of Engineer boat helping you?
No, they didn't. No, the Corps. No, that's at our house. That's my
That's
boat.
Standing.
Your
Stone.
personal,
That's his
okay.
personal boat.
Yeah, that's my grandpa's old boat. I like to
It
put
looks
around
like
there.
a, yeah, exactly.
We assembled these, the dock in the water, got in the water in wetsuits and everything, and put all the hooks and connections together. And there's pins right here, just pinned her right together, and we got it set up, and we modified it so that we can take it out a lot easier. Went on the internet and looked at a lot of different dock designs, and we modified for our area in our building to pull us out fast. Who wants to spend 8 hours pulling a dock? We can pull this thing in about an hour. Just pull the pins, take it over, and then have a couple guys have Kubotas they can't wait to use. So anyway, so we put the dock together, and then we built the compost toilet system in our yard and loaded it up nice well when we hauled it over, and so we got that part done. And then we pulled it over and had a couple boats, and it was kind of a fun day taking it over. We're just a bunch of kids, guys and gals out there. We just love to get dirty and sweaty and everything else. That's good, that's right. Okay, we assembled everything at the, you saw us putting the pile driver in, we put all the stuff, the poles in here. We locked up everything assembled here, put the ADA ramp, the stuff on it, you can slide in, get off on the side of this bars or pull yourself up. And there's plenty of dock. Paddleboarders can come in here and get off. Here's a little place to stand up and get off on. You can go up a stairway or the ADA ramp, and it's all set to 1 inch for 12 inches. You can only have it rise in a certain much, so we have that on there. And it'll take canoes, kayaks, or whatever. When they first sent us the equipment, it was only 36 inches wide, the ADA stuff, and they said, what? Some canoes are 39 inches wide, and they couldn't get in the first year. So we remodified it this spring and had them had that lengthened and that, and now there's going to accommodate all kinds of canoes and kayaks and whatever. So we got that taken care of. I don't know why they build things that you can't accommodate everything, but we do. Okay. This is the pride and joy. If somebody was to say what's the most neat thing that you think of this whole thing, it's right here. The toilet system. This toilet system is so cotton-picking unique. We knew we couldn't pump out the toilets on the island for $4,000 every summer. We didn't have the money, and we knew that was out. So I got on the internet and I started researching. I found out in the Appalachian Mountains they're building what they call a motoring privy. A motoring privy is built in the Smokies and now in the Porkies. And they are the new thing. If anybody's building a cabin and they want an outhouse, don't build an outhouse. The ranger at Porcupine Mountains told me they're done. 60 years they wasted building outhouses. They'll never build another one. He said they're building motoring privies. And here's how they work. They don't build them underground. They build them on top of the ground so it can aerate and oxidize much quicker. My wife is a good smeller. She has walked in this toilet and you can't smell it. You can't smell it when you walk around the inside. It's an unbelievable setup. So if you know somebody that's going to build something like an outhouse, you have them Google motoring privy or compost toilets in the Smoky Mountains or the or the Appalachian Mountains, because they're the latest thing. They're sliding across the country. People are in the parks are using them all over. And when I approached their health department, they kind of laughed. What? You want to build an outhouse on the top? Yeah, we do. And they said, well, we'll look into it. And they did. And I said, you call Antonago because they just approved the one in the Porky Mountains. And after that, that gal called me back and said, you can do it. If this sediment is correct. They went out there, we had to dig a big hole in rock and stuff, and that took us a day. We got the hole done for them 4 feet deep, because they had to check the sediment to see how it would be. Fine, we passed that, filled the hole back in, and we built this baby next to the old hole. And all it is you can see like Lincoln log blocks stacked like this, and we put the floor in and everything, and the riser right here we put on here. We bought this for about $400, and we got there's a board here. After 5 years of people using this particular crib, there's 2 cribs. This crib, after 5 years, you take it and you move it to the other crib. Meanwhile, and you got the boards, you just reverse them. That fish is decomposing and it's harmless, like powdery compost. You can throw it out in the backyard. You don't have to worry about it. And then so for 5 more years, you use this toilet would be over here, and then you keep rotating it back. Every 5 years, you move it. And it is so easy to take care of. I hear of people, all the problems they have with outhouses, and some have to get a septic, even with septic tanks pumped out in that. You don't have to worry about it. This is so user-friendly. And you just use cedar chips, and when you're done going to the bathroom, take a handful, throw it in there, wipe yourself with it. We have toilet paper, feminine napkin stuff here, and so ADA stuff going all around. It's an ADA compliant thing. And I'll tell you what, it is unbelievable. And if you get there, you got to try it.
You should work for it. You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, salesman, huh? Okay, probably the hardest job in the whole thing is putting boardwalk in, not because it's not hard, it's easy. Anybody can do it. I'll tell you what, anyone in this room can do this. This is not hard, not rocket science. You screw in some boards and away you go. But it is hard loading up these racks, taking it over, unloading it, and getting the stuff to the site. And I think that's where most of us lost a lot of weight this summer. And so in 2016, we put in 120 feet, and I don't know why, but we had grant money, so in 2017, we put 480 feet in, and that about done us in, but we got her done. So that's where we're at on that. We put an observation.
Excuse me, is that for ADA reasons?
The boardwalk?
Yeah.
The boardwalk was because we had wetland areas, and if we wanted to use that, we had to get over the wetland areas, and we didn't want people walking through the muck and stuff. So we have actually 3 separate boardwalks on the island. One of them is about 300 some feet, and the other's like 120, whatever. At the end of the longest boardwalk, we have an observation platform, because I asked the biologist at the college where would be the best place, because he said there's birding and flyways, and he said this is the best place to put it. I said okay, so we built it, and it took us a day or 2 for the guys to come out and get this done, so that wasn't a big deal. Oh, am I there already? Yeah, okay. So now the National Guard. For 2 years I've been trying to get the National Guard to do this, and Marquette had them go over there at 4th of July for a one-day thing, and it only took them 2 weeks, the politicians over there, 2 weeks to get the National Guard, and we were waiting 2 years. So I called the head people and I said, you know what guys, this is not too fair here. And I called Chatfield and Schmidt, our reps, and I said, listen, Their politicians got it through in 2 weeks. We've waited 2 years. What are you guys gonna do? So they started rattling the nest there a little bit, and guess what? They got it done. And it wasn't just the politicians. I don't know how much effect they had, but we had enough people coming in from all angles, asking them, and even our local National Guard wanted to do this. They wanted to think outside the box and do a hands-on, real-world thing instead of their normal training, boring stuff they do all the time. So they loved it. And they came in last week, and I opened the paper this morning, front page, you'll see it if you get EUP News. There they are, the National Guard. And I just told them, I wrote a letter, I said, thank you. I was really proud of you guys for coming in and doing this. So they came in and they cleaned up old building material. And they had an excavator, and they rolled that baby, that 30-ton baby, right up on the shore and went over there, and they cleaned up that old building material and threw it on the dumpsters that Smith Sanitation and Waste Management donated for us. And then they had a skid steer to help clean up, and we had guys with shovels and stuff too to help them, and they had some of their own people there too. And access on
Just skate to the bars there.
this. What is it?
Just hit a skate. There it goes.
Okay, they had a drone, so they took the drone shot.
Yeah.
And this is site number 2, and they had it halfway full, and you can see the building was up here, and we had a couple work bees, and we hauled all that stuff down here and piled it next to the shore where they said they could land. And this was their second site. And it took from our first site over on the other side about 3 hours, and then about 3 here. So about 6 hours they had it done. And they crammed that stuff in there. I didn't know if they could do it in 3. I keep hitting the wrong one. And this is just a summary. Our volunteers worked on Voyager Island, Dougherty Island, Harvey Dock. We put in 3 docks. About 70 volunteers came in and put in 400 hours that first couple months. And then we got into, like in most work bees you'll find if you get into volunteers, and you usually get a core crew that actually stays there and are there. So our construction crew ended up doing, we built all the facilities, we put in about 2,600 hours, and we just finished this last week. And so that's it. So we have Voyager Island Park. And the reason I guess they wanted me to present it is to show you the power of volunteering. We save a lot of money for our city, and maybe the city would even have gone ahead and done this. So by people coming out, and I was one of about 86, I just totaled up the number, but one of the 86 people, we all together put this thing together, and it's a great feeling being involved. And I was not, many years ago, involved in a lot of community things, but once you get kind of hooked on it, yeah, it's kind of fun. So now, do you have any questions? I just went through this pretty fast.
I just wanted to also say that, like, we had used the Great Lakes Recovery Group, the men's home, and a few guys came from there, and they just loved volunteering, and it was a great thing for them. And you know, it brings the community together. You get a sense of community with everybody, and we still need to have like a volunteer appreciation day.
Yeah, we're going to have to somehow get our people, that worked on it, and maybe have a cookout or something.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you, we're getting a lot of people using it. A lot of people, or they're kayakers and boaters that want to come up. There is on the everybody has one of these. There's a shore landing site that you can land your boat. Just put a nudge it up on the beach there and tie it up on a tree and just walk the shore. But it's kind of an island that is more for paddlers and hikers than it is for power boaters because it's so shallow down here. And then we know there's all kinds of places for boaters and power boaters and marinas and whatever, but there aren't many places for kayakers and paddleboarders and canoers. So this was kind of go along with getting them to have a destination to go to. So, any questions? Yes.
Do you have any idea how many people have come over this summer?
Our guy that's on the cameras, we have 4 camcorders watching the island because people who want their kayaks stolen there. He counted, he thought 500 to 1,200 different access people coming on board. It's hard to tell because when it clicks, you don't know if they're walking back. And we do have an official counter. We're probably thinking at least 1,000 people that have walked the trails this summer alone. And that's going from probably maybe a handful last year. So the word is getting out. People are there. And if you get bored and you ever want to go buy one of these, like different places in town, you can buy a kayak for $140. For last Christmas, I got my daughter one, $140 and another $20 for a paddle, and she and her friends have one now, and they go to the island So even if you're a novice and never been in a kayak or canoe, you can start off. We've got 2 dock systems, one at Rotary by Sugar Island Ferry Dock, and the other's down a mile down at Harvey Marina. The Harvey Marina one has less current. So if you're a novice person, haven't been kayaking or canoeing, if you launch at a Harvey Dock, you can go right up that inner channel, and you'll come right around this corner right here, and you can come into the chute, pull up your kayak or whatever, and it's very peaceful and scenic there. Yes? Oh, I think that's you. Yes?
Yeah, I just make a personal comment. I live in Lake Chanel here in Cedar area. And typically when we come up to the Sioux, we come out and see what's going on and whether there's ships going by there. And over the years, I've seen that park change. And you guys deserve a lot of credit. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
the Rotary Park you're talking about. Yeah, the Rotary Park has done a lot of work on it, and I haven't been involved in that personally, but yeah, the people in the club and, you know.
Well, one comment, I saw the water trail presentation this morning on Lake Superior, and one of the things they were talking about were amenities that seem to attract people
Sure.
to get on a kayak. And one of the things that struck me was that they were, a lot of their facilities, they encourage what they call kayak lockers, which is a kind of storage thing where you can secure.
And we're thinking of that too. That's
Oh, you are?
Yeah. You can get buildings and cut out both ends. You don't have to buy a Home Depot building, like a small, let's say 12 foot by 7 foot high, and you can make storage things so you can get about 20 feet long, and you can put 2 kayaks in each storage facility, and I think we figured we could put 18 kayaks in them, and everybody have their own lock, you know, and rent them out for $1 a day or something.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the funds to do it yet,
Yeah.
and we don't know what, we know there's a business in town, Bird's Eye Outfitters, that is renting kayaks, and they may get into that and make an approach to the city to maybe fund it if they can lease them out, but yes, that's a super idea, and for them up there too. You want to be able to leave your thing, you don't want to have to put it in the car. And if they can just go here and unlock it, slide it out, put it on the dock and go, they're going to use it.
Well,
So,
you know, if you have a kayak at home and you want a friendly place to be able to launch and go out and paddle, it seems like, you know, for the summer, it'd be a great attraction for someone
that's
to
a
just stage their kayak there,
And
share it with friends, whatever.
Yep. And it can be cheap. You know, you can pay for the building in 2 years to figure it out, just by renting them out.
Well, one of the ideas they were talking about was they have a picture, but they talk about culverts, that they just kind of.
Yeah. They're pretty expensive, pretty heavy, pretty big, and they're for bears and stuff. Whereas I think in our city, we probably don't need that much. Huh?
You can almost go as simple as a pole,
Yeah.
or, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
And we do have
trailer.
we have a kayak rack right up here, just forward of these kayaks right here. And you can put your kayak on it and you can lace it through and lock it. We have a special thing. So you can store 6 kayaks right now on the island.
Oh,
There you go. But housing them is something you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think down the line, we're going to see how the businesses react to it. And if they don't, maybe we'll write a grant and we'll try to put some in. So.
Well, this gives me some great ideas to present in our area.
Oh, hey, yeah, and you're welcome. We're going to try to get out in the, you know, I'm going to put a kind of a booklet together for communities that want to do this. And Ellen has a site, a website, and so does the city. And we're probably going to put a link on there. So, you know, if people, let's say Paradise or you guys want to build, all the stuff you see here, you open it up, you see contacts, costs, how many people you need to build it. So we hope to have that through this winter.
Oh, super.
So.
Old
Train cars.
there, the old train.
You never know. Hey, I guess you'd have to get it down there now. But yeah, there's so many possibilities. And did I see a hand over here? Yeah.
Has the city considered putting the composting toilets on Rotary Island?
Rotary Island is more where they can all tap into the sewage system. They already, if they have the normal sewage system, you don't want to do it. We can go, our sewage plant's just a half mile down the road, and I believe they got all the hookups for the normal. But in places where you don't have the sewage system and probably don't have a lot of, you know, I don't think you'd want to put it like there's a place over at Grocap in Canada. Have you guys been to Grocap? And they just put, you guys went to the morning thing, that's where they just installed one. And they had to put one in the ground. And I looked at it, and it kind of smells a little, and I thought, you know, they gotta pump this out after a while. But they had to do it because it's around a community where they didn't want it sitting on top of the surface. You know? These are more for outlying areas, you know, wetland areas or cabins or whatever. But I'll tell you, it's a neat system. If you Google it, you'll see it. And if you know anybody that's going to build something, a cabin with an outhouse, I recommend this. It's much easier to build, and it's much cleaner, hygienically cleaner, and you will not smell it.
But Roger, with the Rotary area in the Sugar Island Ferry Dock, I believe the city and UPEC are working together to get like a modern bathroom. and
Yeah.
eventually.
They're going to tap in. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll probably take a few years, but they're working on that.
Well, hey, thanks a lot. I know you probably, it's a long day. You know, I used to always hate teaching the last hour day because everybody's there. And when I was doing conferences, I'd have these little gumdrops and I'd pass them out about 2 o'clock because I knew they had like 20 minutes to go. And all, okay, oh yeah, okay, you know, you can get them live. Didn't have any today for you guys. Thanks a lot. And if you have any questions,